Lobbycast. I like that.
We're recording in a van down by the river.
I will probably edit that out.
Yeah, well, with the concept.
Quote Brad Pitt, what is in the box?
Am I the only one that's impressed that Brendan Fraser still gets work?
Hello and welcome, everybody. This is episode 326 of the Lobbycast, brought to you live from Rockhammer Hold. With me today, the lovely Erin, the lovely Brick, and myself.
I am
Geoff.
lovely.
You are lovely.
Fantastically lovely, Geoff.
So, you guys are actually joining a conversation in progress. We've been talking for 5-10 minutes about all different things, but we had recently just started talking about my dislike of Buffy and Angel.
Deep aversion bordering on hatred.
Yeah,
of Buffy towards Buffy and Angel.
And I have to say, and I mean, we'll just go ahead and jump right into it. Skip the news and just continue the conversation.
Sure.
That works.
I think what keeps pushing me, because there's nothing about that show that would like drive a hatred, I guess. I just don't like it. But the thing is,
The thing that drives the hatred is everyone else around you that loves it.
It's what's driving the hatred is my really high opinion of the two of you, and knowing that you two love it as much as you do, and my not being able to fathom how that's possible. That's what drives my.
It's kind of a self-hatred.
It's not hatred. It's bewilderment. I don't understand your love of it, because and please just go pick a random episode, not one of your favorite episodes, but go back and just listen to the dialogue. And
Geoff, I've been rewatching it. I know.
If there's anybody here that knows the dialogue in that show, it's Brick, and he just doesn't agree with that.
I don't understand.
And see, here's what's astounding.
Have you read
to me.
anything?
Here's what's
You read books, Erin?
Frequently.
Okay.
I'd have more to talk about if we did what you're reading, actually.
Hold back with the condescension.
Thanks, Will.
Hold back with the condescension, you fucking hipster.
Well, there it is.
There's the F-bomb.
Was like 2 minutes in or something?
Okay, 2 minutes in. That should be easy to find.
That should be easy to find.
Because, yes, I read things.
And it's just... I constantly looking at it and dialogue that in shows that I enjoy, I generally don't feel like I need to rewrite, and in shows like that, and it's not, and there's dialogue in Daredevil that I would have changed, things like that, but like you were saying, things that are good are just truly good.
And that's why, we have the same bewilderment, but on the other end of that spectrum for you.
Because we watch it and say, how can you not?
You watch it and say, how could anyone like this? And we watch it and go, how could this one person not like it?
Because it's like most of Joss Whedon's stuff, I didn't really care for.
Sure, and that's not a great
Firefly.
Starting point.
Well, I know, but like Firefly, I can see how people enjoy that. And I didn't personally care for it, but I didn't hate it. It's and I consider Firefly to be much better than Buffy or Angel. Well, I can't say Angel. I shouldn't be grouping those together, even though they're companion series. I shouldn't group those together because I've only seen 2 episodes of Angel. So I started a third one last night, and I fell asleep during it. So I actually got closer to 6 hours of sleep.
And also, realistically,
Nice.
I'd like to point out too that your viewing of Buffy initially was kind of a passive viewing. It wasn't the same way that we're going about it.
No,
because it was on.
It didn't
in the store.
start as passive. It became passive because I couldn't. My mind wouldn't let me sit there and focus. So I had to find other things to do. because it was driving me crazy to watch it.
Wow. Yeah. And again, I think another thing we were saying before we turned this on was something that I was thinking about earlier this week is really it comes down to different styles and differences of opinions.
Sure.
What I was thinking about is the vast
difference between three people on Daredevil.
Yeah, on Daredevil.
Like, which is why I wish Blaine was here, because Blaine, he loves Buffy and Angel like we do.
Sure.
But he hates Daredevil, but you really like Daredevil.
Yeah, so we've got very positive reviews coming from Geoff, who's saying we really need to start watching it. It's a great show. Lord Lou is saying, and I guess it has a few positive things, but I'm kind of neutral on it. And Blaine has had nothing but scathing, using words like wretched to describe the dialogue.
Yeah, I have no opinion because I haven't seen it, but I want to. Like, I'm taking.
Yeah, and it's definitely more comic book written like iZombie is, but there's not as much humor written into it. Like his little sidekick,
Foggy.
Yeah, he's pretty awful. I mean, his dialogue is nearly all bad. It's like it was written by a completely different person, but. I really like the fight choreography, and I think they picked a good main actor for Matt Murdock, and I like that within the fights, people get exhausted like you would if you were fighting for more than 2 or 3 minutes. You know, people who are professionally trained fighters, they wear out pretty fast. But in a lot of these movies, you see people are fighting full strength, full force, as long as they need to. Just the human body doesn't do that, is the thing. So I enjoy that.
Slayer's body does.
But I like it for a lot of the same reasons that I like Batman, that he doesn't have superpowers.
Right.
I
mean, he has the technical superpower of his other senses being magnificently heightened,
right?
But that's
but I mean that's not even a super far-fetched thing. I mean, that really happens with people when they lose a
but
sense.
to the extent that it is for him, it is super far-fetched.
Yeah, well, and also he I think he what is that called, biolocation, whenever echolocation, whenever people make the clicking sounds with their voice, and that's a real thing, because
it is a real thing.
It stimulates their visual cortex just like you would if you were seeing it. It's just a change of pathways in the brain, and what people who are blind see with echolocation is about the resolution of what we see in our peripheral vision. It's not completely clear, but it forms images in
and echolocation is sound based when they can do this. And Ray Charles even developed, he said in interviews, that's why he wore only hard-soled shoes, because he'd honed his hearing to the point where he could tap his feet and hear what was around him and how close
absolutely
it
was. So and I kind of enjoy those, and I think a lot of my enjoyment of Daredevil comes from the fact that it's kind of gritty, and most of the television superhero type shows that we've seen are like on the campier side.
And I think that actually might be, I was thinking this earlier before we turned the cameras on and said, let's get this started so we can share our thoughts with all of our lovely listeners. I was wondering if that might be part of why, because you don't like Joss Whedon, you can't stand even a little bit of camp. But you also, to me, and if I'm wrong about this, please say so, you seem to prefer gritty.
I do.
In everything that you watch, and even to the point where a couple times, like one time, I don't even remember what we were watching. We watched something together, and you said that would have been better if it didn't have a happy ending. I didn't like the happy ending,
and
because you didn't think it was realistic. And I can't remember what we were talking about, so I can't say. But
I think that's a fair estimation,
and
as well.
And one thing that I can say definitely about Angel, and really the later seasons of Buffy, not the earlier ones, obviously. Right. But they are more gritty.
Okay, and in all fairness, like seriously, by the end, later seasons of Buffy, I'd completely checked out. It was just on. First one, it was just.
And the later seasons, like they still have that kind of camp and fun to them that they did in the earlier ones, but Joss Whedon really takes more of a serious route with it.
Okay.
Because, because like they're getting into like adulthood, and so like he kind of brings it out of high school and starts to get to be a little bit more of a darker show.
Okay.
After I'd say probably the fourth season, it really becomes a little bit darker.
Gotcha.
And then Angel is pretty well a darker show right out of the gate.
Okay.
Than Buffy ever was. I mean, and it continues that way.
I hope it gets better, because like right now the first 2 episodes the dialogue was really bad.
And see, that's something I didn't have that opinion on it either.
Yeah.
When I started watching it,
Yeah, because if I were to write those lines on a page and have you read them, I think you would. Maybe I analyze dialogue maybe differently.
Could be, because there was. Yeah, and this is, and I guess we've discussed before, my big, okay, I know this is my Smallville, basically, Geoff has said, I love Smallville, but I've never stood up for the fact that it was a great TV show.
No, I didn't love Smallville.
And
why did you keep watching it then?
Okay. I told you I like the Superman story, and they had interesting takes, like every now and then, like 2 or 3 times a season.
But I mean,
they would have something that I thought was interesting.
All 9 seasons except for 1.
Yeah,
that's
9 out of 10.
That's quite a commitment.
That is a big commitment for occasionally getting some good out of it.
Right, but you also have to say I do a lot of my TV watching when I first wake up in the morning or late at night, and I would say Smallville, I probably fell asleep during most of those episodes and didn't go back and rewatch them. So I was just looking for, those little glimmers of hope. It always lied to me. I mean, the show always lied to me.
Well, like I'm trying to think of like a show that I've had where I've just continued it, regardless of me knowing that it's terrible.
I don't know that I've ever.
It's terrible and still saying I don't like it and I know it's terrible and I'm still watching it, which to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like my analogy is. I love one of my favorite TV shows of all time was Forever Night. You guys know this. That was a TV show that wasn't very good. It had great actors. I mean, most of the actors that were in that are working actors. Jean-Wynne Davy, who was the lead, is actually one of the leading Shakespearean stage actors in Canada. So it's not like they had bad actors in this show. It was cheesy writing and cheesy special effects, but it was all done with affection. And despite the fact that I acknowledge that wasn't a great TV show, I really loved it. So I wasn't.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. But I also don't see. Making that comparison to Buffy, I don't see, okay, this is crap, but I still love it. I see there's campiness, but
right. Well,
and yet there's still those darker moments too. And the analogy that I brought up earlier was there was an episode involving some students being possessed by the spirits of hyenas, and that should not have worked on any level.
Like it sounds ridiculous.
You put that on paper, and you say that, and you're just sitting there saying that's ridiculous. And yet there were a couple of moments in that show that I liked the whole episode, and there were a couple of sincerely dark moments in that show, where there's one human being dies because of this possession, and Xander getting a little grapey with Buffy. There's some dark stuff in there that they actually made work.
And they, eat the principal's face.
Yeah, they eat the principal's face. They don't just eat the mascot; they eat the principal. And so I just went,
and I love Principal Flutie.
Shit just got real here in a big way, and I wasn't, wow. But they made it work. And
also the thing that I really like about the show in general is because I think that they do a really good job with dealing with like real issues of being that age too. And they get into it a lot more in like the second and third season than they do in the first.
Okay.
But they do a really good job of that, and like because the whole show takes place in a really transitionary period for anybody, like the ages of like 16 to like where I am now.
Yeah, that's big
So
time.
There's
for
a
people.
lot that goes on there, and I feel like Joss Whedon does a really good job of mixing, like, the fact that you're going that they're all going through this age process on top of the Hellmouth is not a coincidence.
It's
so,
that would be. It's hard enough being that age on top of a Hellmouth would not be a small thing.
And there's some metaphor there.
Yeah, absolutely. Hell, I think it would be hard enough being a teenager in with a cell phone. But
that the fact that the school library is located literally right on top of the opening to the Hellmouth is
done deliberately, right?
Yeah, it's there's a lot that's done right with that show, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you the whole series is incredible, because there's also a lot that's done wrong too. Like, the fourth season was, and for the most part, god awful.
Yeah, you said that.
And the character of Riley needs to go die. And I hope he does. I think he did,
but
I don't know.
And that's also a problem that pretty much all 22, 24 episode seasons fall into.
Right.
It's filler. There's so much filler.
Speaking of that is the show. That is the show that I continued to watch and knew it was awful.
What?
24.
Yeah,
I watched that show every single episode, every single season, including the newest one. And I was like, because the first 2 seasons were so good. And I was like, it's going to get better. They're going to do more with it, right? And it was just the same stuff every season. They never really did anything different, because there was always like
24 was mostly bad.
There was always like the big thing that was going to happen, and then somebody in CTU was a traitor. Like that happened every season. Like they never tried to do anything different with that show.
Really? Yeah. I walked away from that show early on, and it's good to know I made the good choice.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, and that was kind of an interesting thing, because 24. I'm not saying it was all good, but like mostly the dialogue was well written, but the shows were poorly written, which was like the plot they were just bad. I mean, seriously. And I know it probably actually does happen, and people like Jordan and Will could probably attest to the like idiocy that happens in the government, but there is no way that the counter-terrorism thing would have somebody infiltrate them once or twice a year.
Yeah,
right.
That does not happen. And then like the way that they would find out about it would always be the same, because they'd be like, oh, we're really suspicious of this guy, but then whoops, what a twist. It's actually this guy you never suspected.
And you would think if it did happen that often, at some point they would say, we need to look at our methods here, because we seem to be getting infiltrated a lot.
Like, hey, that person walks around looking shifty all the time.
Seriously, has anyone ever asked Shifty what he does?
Does he even have a job?
Does he have a job here? Because I don't think anyone's really asked Shifty what he does. Did you hire him?
I didn't hire him. Did you hire him? Who hired Shifty?
And
damn it, people! That's the 4th time this year.
And it's not only that Shifty works there. Shifty is usually sleeping with one of the leads.
Yes,
it's like
how do you not know that much about somebody that's inside you?
Counterterrorism agents in the world
that would be a sign.
Cannot sense.
Are you sleeping with so and so?
Sleeping with Shifty.
Are you sleeping with so and so? Oh well, crap! You're clearly the terrorist.
Yeah,
that could be the test right there.
And they did it every year, and every year we all thought, or at least I did, I was like, this is going to get better. This is going to get better. And then it never did. But I defended that show too. Like I don't anymore, but I defended that show. I was like, no, 24 is still good. It's still good. I couldn't believe what happened, even though it was what happened 3 times before.
Oh man. And pretty much anything that had to do with his daughter was awful.
God. I mean, and see, that's the thing, is because that show, it had such potential to be really great. Like they could have.
You know, maybe that's the thing. Brick is, within the theme of Buffy, I think it could have been a lot better show. It had a lot more potential than it realized.
And I think it realized every bit of its potential.
Okay.
But I mean, you know, granted, I think after the third season, it was never quite as good because after the third season, the focus shifted to Angel. That was really where Joss Whedon went, and he focused his energies there. And so you could see that, especially with the contrast between the first season of Angel and the fourth season of Buffy, because there was a couple good episodes strewn into the fourth season, but the first season of Angel, you could really see that he cared more about that show than he did about Buffy anymore. Nice. And he I think, like, I don't know if Greenwalt had shifted over to Angel yet. He might have left him with Buffy, but Greenwalt did like The Shield, and he produced Sons of Anarchy too. David Greenwalt.
You know, but both of those shows had
their ups and downs too.
Had bad writing and bad dialogue problems. It wasn't that consistent, but those shows were not all stars by any sense. But I enjoyed them.
It's been a long time since I've seen The Shield, so I can't really speak to it anymore.
Yeah,
but as far as Sons of Anarchy is concerned, that show, it did have its dialogue issues.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like they were super great. I felt like the biggest problem with that show was its storytelling. Like, I really felt like they couldn't figure out what they really wanted to do with it.
Yeah.
And they they kept going back and forth. Like, it was like this big fight in the writer's room that like one side would win one week and the other side would win the other.
No, I mean, that sounds about right.
I'm just really excited that for a moment here on this show, we had a beautiful thing where we came together and all agreed that 24 had potential and then went downhill. I want everyone to note that we had a lovely.
Well, I think this is good. This is a little cathartic too, because we can all at least understand each other.
Yes,
you know?
Absolutely.
We can understand that you don't like the show, and that's fine, and you don't have to anymore. We're letting you go.
That's fine.
We're letting you go.
I'm just saying.
Just look at the flowers, Lily. Just look at the flowers.
Hey,
she gets that because she's seen that episode.
After all of this, I'll be able to walk away knowing that I've given Erin a much better show than she's given me.
and I can walk away knowing that I'll probably disagree with that.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. You think you'd be all right.
One thing I'll say about it's interesting so far is to catch some of you. Some of you may be aware that we had a handshake in an earlier episode saying that if I began watching Hannibal, he would start watching Angel episode per episode.
Yeah,
I started 2 episodes of Hannibal, so he's 2 episodes in Angel.
Hannibal keeps, and I think they do a good job of this. It keeps like weaving through interesting, mind-bending, and just plain weird. Because you're like the story's being told, and it's also kind of taking you through the experience of someone losing their grasp on reality, their sanity. Yeah.
And really, and like I said, I'm looking forward to getting to the parts where Eddie Izzard. I had heard they do very creative things with pork props on the show to make them look.
All the cooking things are so good, and it's awesome because it's all just like artistic type cooking.
But it's people.
But
it's people. And it makes you hungry. And you're like, oh.
Which is what they're doing. Definitely delivered. They're putting these beautiful,
awesome.
delicious looking plates out there, and you know what it is.
Soylent Green is people.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one that was thinking that. Thank you, Brick.
They
just ignore us.
I don't know if they could have done much better with the actor they picked as Hannibal. Mickelson, what's his name?
I don't know, but I'm very interested in Hannibal. I am.
Yeah. He was a Bond villain.
He was in Casino Royale.
Casino Royale, yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen Casino Royale, but you know what? He looks like a Bond villain. I can see him as a Bond villain.
He was a great Bond villain too.
Oh, and here very soon, you should be running across Gillian Anderson, who is
Nice.
Hannibal's therapist.
Nice.
Yes.
And I was happy to see Scott Thompson.
So awesome.
We were discussing Kids in the Hall, who some of us will be seeing live next month, and Scott Thompson of Kids in the Hall of Fame is in Hannibal. I was tickled to see him. So.
Yeah. I think you'll enjoy it. I mean, given your love of catching of serial killers, I guess it is.
The catching of, yes.
The catching of serial killers.
Which tends to be an interesting process.
I think you'll enjoy this because of everything that's going on with it.
It's very good cat and mouse.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
I'm more than interested in watching the show. Like, you don't have.
I didn't realize you
don't have to make a deal with me or anything. I'll just start watching.
Let's just start watching.
Yeah,
so sweet of you.
Yeah, and for the Daredevil thing, I was like, I enjoyed Daredevil, but I can completely understand why somebody wouldn't enjoy Daredevil. I think you and Will would like Daredevil.
Well, and
I think you would probably like Daredevil.
Yeah, I think that I would. And
do you watch any of the others, like Flash or Arrow or any of those?
No.
What Gotham? I had to drop out of Gotham.
I watched Gotham, but I dropped out of it.
Yeah,
I haven't. I was there too, and I haven't been able to continue that.
But I think I would like Daredevil.
I may revisit Gotham once Jada Pinkett Smith is no longer in it.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I hear that the guy who plays Cobblepot plays the Penguin is like the best thing about the show.
He really is kind of the reason to watch the show. And
he was definitely the most interesting out of what I did see.
He certainly was, but he was gone like really quickly, wasn't he?
No,
he comes right back.
He comes back.
Does he come right back? Okay.
Yeah, he comes right back.
I just was kind of.
I think he's only gone for episode 2.
Yeah, he's not. He's only gone for an episode or 2.
Yeah,
and
I stopped after 1.
Yeah,
and I clearly I was at I can't throw any stones because I would kind of just got to the point even with him there that he wasn't enough to keep me engaged.
Yeah, and that's
as good as he was.
That was my issue too. Man, Jada Pinkett Smith was awful, and she was written poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it, and like we said previously, I don't think it was
her
her fault. I don't think she had a lot to work with.
Yeah, she's not a bad actress, and generally,
no. Well,
and I'm not sure. No, she's not. But I just don't. I think she didn't have a lot to work with the script, and I think that I'm not sure that, as we've discussed in the past, we won't go into it again. But we just think somebody like Angela Bassett has more intensity.
Yeah,
to bring that across than she did.
But and also,
Pam Grier.
See, here's the thing too: is that like a show like Gotham, because I feel like it is a show that it lends itself to a lot of grit and darkness because it's Gotham. And so it shouldn't be on a network like Fox. Like it should be on like FX or AMC or Showtime or HBO, something like that.
Or
Netflix.
Or Netflix. Something that can lend itself to that kind of grit. Like I watched the last episode to American Crime this week, and I don't know if we're going to get into the watches ever, but if we do, I watched that, and the whole season, I was watching that show. I'm like, wow, this is a really good show that ABC does not deserve, because it was really great, and it could have been better if it could have really done what it wanted to do. Like that was a show that it was begging to be
and I don't
darker and grittier.
I don't think
already pretty much there, and it couldn't because of network. Like,
I don't think that's necessarily. I think that still comes back down to the creative team, because Hannibal's on network television, and I don't know that I've seen much television that is darker and more disturbing than that. And it's on NBC.
That's true. But would you not agree that it would be better if it was on FX?
I don't know.
Or like HBO or something like that?
Maybe.
See,
I can't see much difference with Hannibal specifically, and maybe the only example that I could even come up with of a network show that I cannot distinguish between a cable show.
Well, that's astounding, because see, the thing with American,
because it seems darker and grittier than was Sons of Anarchy for sure.
Okay. And see, I haven't seen it, so I can't speak to it. But with American Crime, for instance, they would have to do things that would take you out of the characters and would take you out of the show. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, like when somebody like says
they
F word
edit
on the show, not only do they bleep, like blank out them talking, but sometimes if the camera's focused on them,
their mouth, they'll pixelate their mouth. Yeah.
They'll black out the screen for like a second, like while they're saying the word.
Oh,
like
that's right. That's what they do, and it's really distracting.
It's really distracting.
At that point, why don't even include the cursing at that point?
Yes.
If you're going to distract for.
And if that show was on like
much.
HBO or something like that, it's like True Detective. It doesn't ever take. I mean, it's not that good, but
you don't think about it.
But you don't think about it. It just
it doesn't draw attention to the language.
That's a bizarre choice.
Yeah, that's right. And I was like, no, there's something really awkward, like pixelating their mouths or something.
No,
but you're right. They black out the whole screen.
Wow.
Yeah, for like a second when they're saying the word. It's like that Louis C.K. bit that when he's talking about how nothing makes him more angry than when he hears some white anchor lady say N-word. Because he's like, that's just white people getting away with saying it. You know? he's like, because you say N-word and you're making me say it in my head. Take some responsibility for it, okay? And that's exactly what it is, because it's super distracting to the show.
I think if you were to watch Hannibal, you would see what I'm saying. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
And
kudos to NBC, because I
may very well be.
I would finish an episode and I was like, how is this on network
TV? Right. Well, and I can honestly say that I was not aware it was a network show until you said that just now.
Yeah.
And when you said that,
because there are some episodes where stuff happens that, like, where I felt a little shaken.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That a TV show can evoke
create that.
Yeah.
Well, and ABC's toting American Crime is like pushing the bounds of network. No, you're not. You're trying to sell it like that, but you're not.
But that's what it is. It's a sales pitch.
It's a sales pitch, and it's so annoying because I feel like if I would have just not watched the show when it was on network and waited for it to come out on like Netflix or DVD or something like that where it's unedited, I would have enjoyed it more than I did. And I really did enjoy that show. I thought it was good. I mean, enjoy is a strong word because it's because that is a show that deals with things. People. Yeah, that's a show that's difficult to enjoy anything that happens on it. But I enjoyed it because it was real. Like it's intense, that show. Okay. Like super intense. And the only two characters that like I really cared about were like the two drug addicts, like Carter, and I can't remember what the blonde girl Jane Fonda's name is or whatever.
Bridget Fonda.
Bridget Fonda, that's right. Yeah.
It's not even the real actress, but
no.
That is the part she's playing is Bridget Fonda's character from Point of No Return.
Oh, for a second there, I was thinking, it's great to hear she's working again.
No.
Never mind. Never mind.
Oh, and that reminds me what annoys me about Jada Pinkett Smith on Gotham is that she's trying to emulate Eartha Kitt from Batman 66, and it's bad.
Which nobody should do.
No, never.
Never, ever.
Anyway, it was just a bad choice.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I mean, so I have that's a big. I don't know even where we're going, but that was a big complaint for American Crime that I had to get off.
Yeah.
Do you feel better?
I couldn't deal with
it.
Yeah,
and I can see why, because I have not watched the show, but that's a really strange, distracting choice to make. So I can.
But I have to say, I did watch the season finale, and that season finale was really, really good. Like they did a fantastic job. And I have to say, also, other than Carter and the blonde girl that I can't remember her name, I also did really like Hector too. Like especially towards the end of the show, the guy that was driving the car.
Yeah. The guy with the. I mean, he became an interesting character.
He did. Like initially, I hated him. Like, and I didn't really care. but he really became a great character. Like that was truly good work of dynamic character, like writing a dynamic character.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone else on that show I hated. Everyone else. There was not one person that was like, yeah, I'd hang out with you. You know? Like even the characters I did like, I don't think it'd be like, yeah, I got you.
That good, huh?
Wow. But I guess that's as good a segue as any to the Whatchas.
Weekly Whatchas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I mean, we should probably do news at some point, or do you want to do news last this week?
Let's do a little bit of news, but let's cut it down because I think we've
chatted a lot.
We have.
Okay. All right. So real quickly, if you are part of the Windows 10 preview program, they have started testing the Xbox streaming to Windows 10. So you can, and what's really disappointing to me is that you can have your Xbox One on and you can stream it to your Xbox device or your Windows device, but that has to be what your Xbox is doing. If you're like running TV through your Xbox, somebody can't be watching TV and somebody else be playing a game on a Windows PC.
It seems shameful.
Yeah, it does.
They could be watching through the satellite box, and you could be streaming Xbox to another room. You can do that.
Okay, that's something.
That's
a thing.
But the Xbox has to be doing that. The Xbox is just pushing the game. It's not playing the game and also somebody watching TV through it. So
I see.
Can't happen. There's a bunch of new stuff on Netflix coming in June. Probably I say the highlight, but there's potential for it is a Netflix original show by the Wachowski siblings.
Oh, they need to
Sense8. So we'll see.
Sense8.
Okay.
Is the name of it.
Okay.
It's a sci-fi show.
Maybe.
I don't know.
It's a maybe because they could go either way. They've done good work and they've done bad work. So,
True.
Yeah. Well, they did one good Matrix movie and then they did two bad ones.
Yeah.
George Romero is bringing Empire of the Dead to television, and I don't have any details on that, but
that's a good comic.
Yeah. So should be all right. American Horror Story. Sarah Paulson is going to play the villain this season, so she may be falling into the Jessica Lange.
Is Jessica Lange not?
She's not going to be on the show anymore.
Yeah, she'd been threatening it. She finally made that.
Yeah. So Sarah Paulson, being the other female lead of the show, I think she's going into the role of the villain this time. So be a little change of pace.
Yeah. That
I think Kathy Bates will probably be back.
I'll still give it a chance.
Fantastic. I hope so.
But I really like
it. I hope we get Angela Bassett back too.
Oh yeah,
I really like Jessica Lange.
I just love that love the strong female cast, so that's a good thing.
Absolutely, and that show definitely has a strong female cast. I mean, it's awesome. There's a rumor that because they're now owned by Disney has their own channel, that Star Wars and Marvel universes may be getting their own networks.
Okay.
As sister networks to the Disney Channel, which could be awesome. Like if everything that Star Wars was all, contained in one area and everything Marvel was also in one area. That'd be really funny. Brick can't stand up right now. I put out this quick little blurb about a website called Popcorn Time, and you can just go there and start watching movies, and it's streaming BitTorrents.
What?
I was able to do it on my phone. I was able to do it on my Xbox One browser.
Wow.
Okay, that's
so you don't download anything. You don't download an app. You don't download torrents. You don't do anything.
That site is going to get taken down real quick.
Yeah.
It's worked for the week since I put up the article.
Use it while you still can.
Yeah, sure, it's awesome. I'm not, but I'm just saying.
I just started watching 10 Things I Hate About You, and I'm like, Huh.
Like that. That's
How about that?
That's
There you go.
definitely not legal.
No. No.
Something else kind of interesting. Starbucks has given all of their baristas Spotify premium accounts, and the baristas now can make playlists for the stores.
Well, that's neat.
That is cool.
I like Starbucks and their stuff that they do.
Yeah,
Well,
they seem to do some of the good stuff
like
for their
that.
employees.
Well, yeah, they've done some things that I've thought have not been really great business, but good.
I hold Starbucks uniquely and specifically responsible for the sense of entitlement that has developed in our country, where you feel comfortable asking for coffee or tea at a specific temperature, like 123 degrees, and all that kind of stuff, because it hasn't just stayed in the coffee realm. It happens in restaurants too.
Oh,
it happened when I was managing Hooters.
Absolutely.
Where people would order wings and they're like, oh, okay, well, I want 1 Parmesan garlic wing and 3 of this kind of wing, and then I want the other 6 to be this kind of wing. Order off the menu, please.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I would say that
I think Starbucks drove that.
I think Starbucks made it worse. I think they exacerbated it. I don't think they started it or drove it. I think it was already there.
I don't know.
God, that would drive me absolutely.
But don't get me wrong. I'm sure they have made it a lot worse. But yeah.
There's a lot that
terrible.
goes into the sense of entitlement, though.
I don't know that.
Like
they're pretty.
Like there's a lot of white guilt out there, but there's way more white privilege than there is white guilt. Both of them. I mean, both of them are wrong.
Yeah,
but one of them is worse.
It's more prevalent than the other.
Yeah,
because at least with white guilt, there's some technical good that comes out of it. Racist as it may be, but but with white privilege, it's just douchiness. That's all that comes out of that.
That's true.
Yeah, most of the things that I see people do in the restaurant industry, like from on the guest side, it's like I would never in my life do that or act like that in a restaurant.
Oh yeah,
right.
Ever.
That's why. I mean, I've worked retail for most of my life, and I can't see doing restaurants, because if people are as bad as they are in retail, and it's kind of like it's few and far between, and I feel like it's way more prevalent when people are ordering food and drinks and stuff.
That's what I say about the restaurant business.
Absolutely.
People are the best and worst thing about it.
Yeah,
And that's true. Absolutely.
because I'm sure you get like some really good customers that, at the end of the day make it worth it, but like,
Absolutely.
like, I would too. Like I would get like just a horrible human that, deserves every STD. And then after that, I would get like the angel that would just come in and just be like the most amazing customer that I've ever had in my life,
Yeah. All right. Well, before we fall down that rabbit hole, let's continue on here. The Critics' Choice Awards awarded Seth MacFarlane the Louis XIII Genius Award. It's like their top award.
Great.
So,
I mean, he deserves it.
Question mark?
yeah, you used to love him so much more before A Million Ways to Die in the West.
I really did. And I still do. Like, I still watch American Dad and Family Guy, and I think they're really funny shows, and I have a lot of hope for Ted 2. But, I think that
movie did a lot of damage to you.
it really did.
Yeah.
Because I expected so much out of it. Like, I was so excited for it. And then
And then
it was just like
deliver.
it
Yeah.
was like stabbed me in
Wait,
the eye with something that was shellacked off of my own body.
Yeah, he monologued a lot in that movie.
Mhm.
Or even if he didn't actually, like screen time wise, it felt like he was monologuing a lot.
Both Ted and A Million Ways to Die in the West just felt like vanity projects to me.
But Ted was really funny. Like I was,
like it all seems the same to me. So
yeah, I was just.
But I mean, I was howling laughing all the way through Ted, and I really think that Ted 2 is going to be good too. But I thought A Million Ways to Die in the West was going to be good, and then I was sorely disappointed. So,
you know why, Brick? It's because people die at the fair.
That was one of the funniest parts of that movie.
Yeah,
that was one of the funniest parts of that movie.
That part actually worked. It was a funny.
It was
bit, and
it was the only bit that I remember being funny in the movie. And I didn't hate the movie. I didn't dislike it as much as you did, but it wasn't good.
Like seriously, Seth MacFarlane, please make Ted 2 good.
Yeah,
because Tom Brady's his reputation can't get any worse at this point, unless that movie's horrible.
Yeah, there you go.
There's that.
Let's see. Oh, and Nintendo is skipping E3 again. It's not huge news. And then the other thing is, kind of related to what you guys were talking about earlier. David Lynch is returning for the Twin Peaks sequel. So
yes,
he will be heavily involved.
That is what Brick told me. I'm happy. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. So hopefully we can work it out where we can all watch that.
Yes,
let's do it because it'll be a first viewing for Brick and I. I've never seen Twin Peaks, not a single episode.
Yeah, wow. And as many David Lynch movies as I've seen and have made you watch, we should both have seen Twin Peaks.
Absolutely.
And
I had seen a fair amount of
because I'd never seen Wild at Heart before. Before watching
that movie makes me happy. It's not a great movie, but I like it.
Mulholland Drive's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's not my favorite, but it is one of my favorite movies of all time.
And Blue Velvet is a great movie.
Blue Velvet's really good.
Blue Velvet
Lost Highway is really good too.
I haven't seen Lost Highway.
Lost Highways is good.
But Mulholland Drive, it's so long. But I don't know what I love more about it. If I just love just the general weirdness or the statement he's making about Hollywood. I don't know if I love that as much as I love watching it with someone that's never seen it before. It doesn't know what they're getting into.
Happened?
Like Jordan. Like when we
is
sat
that chick
Jordan,
alive?
When we sat Jordan down to watch that movie and we got finished with it, that made my week. I hate both of you.
It was pretty awesome. Okay, so I mean that's basically the news. Just wrapped it up real quick. Let's go ahead and get into the weekly Whatchas. Erin, what you're listening to this week?
This week I was listening to a little bit of Darkness, a little bit of Last Podcast on the Left. Got into the Richard Ramirez episode, I believe, on that one. And let me just say as a side note, it's kind of ridiculous that he died in prison of natural causes. Apparently California's death row needs to call Texas or Florida and ask him how it's done. Just as a thought. Anyway, I also listened to
shoot him.
That was kind of the Soviet move with Andrei Chikatilo is, they just shot him. And I was okay with that. Anyway, I listened to some Big Frida, which also kind of dovetails with what you're watching. And listening to some stuff on the Nerdist.
Cool.
Nice. Like the one that I was actually just listening to yesterday is Studio Ghibli's My Neighbor Totoro rumors about the hidden meaning behind that anime film and such things. So fun stuff there.
Awesome.
Nice.
Brick.
Mr. Brick?
I have been listening to a little bit of the T-Swizzle. Taylor Swift.
Oh my God.
Although T-Swizzle is kind of a neat name.
No,
you were saying
it's not for everyone, but it's for me. So,
it is for you.
And then I bought and have listened to last night actually the 25th anniversary vinyl of Thriller.
Oh, nice.
That's his best album.
It is.
I just can't
absolutely.
Do it. Yeah, and he's so because he thinks he's not going to listen to it. You'll listen to it. It's like $15.
No,
Geoff. And
it's not.
And
See,
if you
I won't-
don't, somebody in your house will. I know.
I know, because Madison is a Michael Jackson freak. I would never be able to listen to another album again. I would hear it. I wouldn't put it on.
But it is his best album, and I don't have any Michael Jackson on vinyl, and that's the one to have if you're going to have it.
I agree. I mean, it is in my my album wish list. It's in there.
It's only $15.
Dude.
That's pretty cheap for a vinyl.
Is it the music or the morality of the man?
Okay,
you're
but that
having
doesn't
issues
matter
with?
because, like Gerard Carmichael says, talent trumps morals. Okay, I don't care if you thought Michael did it or you didn't. We have all forgiven him by now because we can't go without Thriller.
Yeah, and it's there's that, and it's just trying to reconcile that with because I'm older than you guys, and so I was around when Friday night videos began and when MTV began.
See, you're not a whole lot older than me, so I do have that recollection of when Thriller came out on vinyl originally the first time, and that was our entire block shut down.
Oh yeah,
because that one person that got Thriller on vinyl, we were at their house listening to it over and over again. It was an event.
Yeah.
Well, I was there when MTV ended, so
True.
There's that.
Yeah. And Video Jukebox.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago where you could actually call in and request music
things,
videos to show on your TV.
on the
We
MTV,
have
still
infinitely better technology now. Can't do that.
No.
Yeah, you have a hard time
But
even seeing music videos on video television.
For sure.
Yeah, but that's why we have things like Vivo now.
And YouTube.
Yeah.
And YouTube and all kinds of other nifty.
Yeah.
Because the music videos go straight to there. So in a way, it's better because you can just call up whatever video you want.
Right.
But in a way, it's not because there's something
not that
special about
interaction.
The interaction, but also just having the randomness.
It's like calling into a radio show and requesting them to play a song and they played it. Doesn't happen anymore.
Right. But there's also
Clear Channel would reach through the phone and squash you if you tried to request a song now.
About the randomness of just the next video coming up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very true. I didn't think about that.
I mean,
but back then, the next video that came up wasn't random. It was somebody else out there who called in just like you did.
But
really wanted
there
to
might
see
not
that
be as
video.
much variety because and there were not as many music videos as a lot of you will recall when it first started. There just weren't that many music videos around, so there was a lot of recycling getting done as well.
Yeah.
Well, and the last
people
music
called
videos,
in and requested videos by Y&T.
Yeah. I mean, the last videos that I remember before MTV died was like the Wallflowers and Learn to Fly, like the Foo Fighters or something like that. Like those were the last few videos that were around before they're like, hey, let's watch teenagers get pregnant and deal with it.
Right. Oh well.
Was Real World the first of the shows?
That was the first one that started it.
Yeah, started it all.
Started the whole
beginning
thing.
of the end. All right.
And yet I guarantee you that everybody here at least watches some reality show occasionally, so I'm sure we can't throw a lot of stones.
Yeah,
the
end of MTV did not start with the bang.
Right.
But with a blonde girl vomiting into a trash can.
God, that's right.
Awesome. All right. Is that all you've been listening to?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's something.
I had put the mental bookmark in that one because I saw where it was going. For me, I'm listening to some Shuffle All and listen to The Cure, and I've been listening to some Walk Off the Earth in anticipation of tomorrow night's show. So
nice.
Very nice. All right, let's go into the What You Watchins.
Well, as we discussed previously,
Borderlands.
a lot of Borderlands too. Been watching So much Borderlands 2. I think
Gameplay
I think somebody gets shot once or twice in that game. I also watched Hannibal, as we previously discussed, enjoying that. And just thought, since I'm watching, the made up stories about weirdness, that I would watch some real life stories about weirdness, and fired up some old episodes of Autopsy, which was an HBO repeat special.
Yes, you did.
I did. Some of you might not be aware. They would talk to actual medical examiners and coroners around the country about some of the more interesting cases that they had.
Oh, that's cool.
It actually really is, and they're streaming free of charge on Amazon if you're a Prime member. Yeah. It's really interesting stuff. Look it up. Dr. Michael Baden of New York narrates a lot of it and talks about some of his own cases. If you do need to have, they do show some actual footage, so be aware that is there, and it's the real deal. So, but it's very interesting stuff. And after Hannibal and Autopsy, went with the Unlikely Animal Friends for a little palate cleanser.
Wow. I would need Hannibal or Autopsy as a palate cleanser from Animal Friends or whatever.
Like for me, I'll watch American Crime, and I've grown to love Buffy as much as I do. That's my palate cleanser now.
I can see that. That is okay. Palate cleanser as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because I'll watch American Crime and be like, oh God,
my soul.
Okay, all right, Sunnydale, here we go.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, and that about sums it out. Borderlands 2 was really most of my watching this week.
Perfect. Well, not perfect, but
but
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yes. Yay for you.
Buffy.
Yay.
Series finale of Mad Men, which I loved, except for the last bit. And if you've all seen it, you know what I'm talking about, but I won't spoil it for anyone. So that, and I do mean the very last bit.
Yeah.
I would not like to buy the world of Coke. American Crime season finale, as I've already talked about. Great season finale. Show could be done better if it was just given more range to do what it wants to. iZombie, which I thought was the season finale, but then delightfully found out there are 3 more episodes. So
happy day.
That's good. Silicon Valley, which God, that show's just really funny. Like, have you been venturing further? Okay. Game of Thrones. I'm so close to being caught up. It's scary. Like, I'm a quarter into the latest episode, and so I haven't seen the last 3 quarters. So I haven't seen what everyone's talking about something terrible that happens at the end of episode 6.
There's, it's no secret to anybody that Game of Thrones is a little rapey.
Yes, and that's what I've heard. And also, like Lou said, it's not like we're watching the Cosby Show or something,
Yeah, I remember that conversation. And and as somebody that doesn't watch Game of Thrones regularly, but has seen other episodes and is aware of the storyline, I'm not saying that what they were showing wasn't reprehensible, but I'm surprised it goes along with the storyline.
It's actually one of the milder ones.
Well, and that's what I'm. Why is it this episode that everybody's angry about and not all the other episodes?
If I may, because I can guess what happens.
Okay, just
if I may, it's because Sansa never gets a break. That's why.
Okay, you know what? That makes sense to me because a friend of mine
Sansa has
she's had a rough go.
A friend of mine that has read the books and watches the TV show quite faithfully has called Sansa the tragic one. That is how she refers to Sansa, because that, like you said, the girl can't catch a break, and maybe that's it.
And so, like, the whole audience collectively is just going, "Oh, come on!"
She's had a couple
happen to her.
This is basically her 3rd unwanted marriage, but she had managed to keep her virginity intact until
this
one.
Yeah.
So people just want good things to happen to Sansa, and they don't. Is what you're saying.
Pretty much. And then the last thing on my list is I again ventured to the theater to watch Mad Max Fury Road, because it's amazing and it's so very good. And those are 2 things that are the same, but it needs to be said twice. And if neither of you have seen it, what are you doing here?
We need to go.
Why are you not watching it right now? Like
I watched it right after the last recording.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it. So continue so that we can talk about two things.
I watched the first 2 episodes of Angel. They didn't really appeal to me, but
as we've established.
But I will allow for the fact that you told me that it gets better, and I will keep an open mind for that.
Okay.
Because often the first 1 or 2 episodes of any show aren't their best representation.
Even Breaking Bad. Even though those first 2 episodes were fantastic, they still were not the best of the series.
No, but Jesse climbing around out of the second-story window of the married woman's house and then falling off into the bushes and running into Walt.
Watching
that was
the whole time.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
That's how you write a TV show.
So Angel, American Crime, I'm still 1 episode down on that one. iZombie, enjoying that. I guess if I had a palate cleanser show, it would be iZombie. There's not a whole lot of light and fluffy that I tolerate, but
it's not super light and fluffy, but it's enough.
Yeah, it's enough.
It's Geoff light and fluffy.
Fair enough. Silicon Valley, I like it, but a weird thing happened, and it may explain a little bit why I'm not completely in love with it.
Okay.
It's not as funny as I would like it for it to be. It's on the drier side.
Okay.
Which is fine. But for this show, I would have liked for it to be a little bit funnier, a little bit more Office Spacey.
Okay.
But I watched the first 3 episodes of season 1 and the last 3 episodes of season 2 and did not notice until I watched episodes 1, 2, and 3 of 1 and 4, 5, and 6 of 2 and did not notice that I had skipped 6 episodes.
Really?
But then I went back and watched the other 6 episodes.
So did you see the latest episode then with the guy that's the Blaine that's making the jump?
Yeah.
I loved that so much.
Yeah.
Because there's this guy.
No, that was awesome. Their flow chart or whatever that was. Because there's this guy that they're trying to do some promotion for their product with an energy drink company, and the energy drink company is performing this stunt where this guy's going to jump this massive truck from one building to another. And Dinesh and Guilfoyle, they see like his calculations on the whiteboard, and they realize that he didn't account for the curve in the ramp, and that if they don't say something, that he's going to slam into the other building and kill himself. And so they try to tell him one time. Twice.
They try to tell him one time, and he shuts them down, and then they try to tell him again, and he's just a complete douche to both of them. And so and he's got this really attractive girlfriend that they both want. And so then they're sitting in this part of the building, and they've got this massive like chart of the pros and cons of letting him die. And like all these different ways that he could die, like they go way more in depth than they rightfully should.
Yeah.
And then like at the end of the episode, he comes and he's like, I just wanted to let you guys know, like when I'm getting ready for a jump, I get really intense, and I'm sorry for shutting you guys down. Is like, I just wanted to apologize because I know that I was being
He's got his back to the
his back to this board that's just filled with death and despair.
See, that's what I was looking for from like more of the show.
Yes, yeah, and you definitely do get that a lot more.
Yeah.
But then he turns around and he's like, would you believe it if we told you that was there when we got here?
Because the centerpiece of it is let Blaine die.
Let Blaine die. Oh God, it was so great.
It was pretty awesome. So I do enjoy it. But I think that is somewhat telling of.
And I could
of the
definitely see how
show,
you would do that because
where
it is,
like most episode, like every episode is pretty much the same.
well, yeah, because there's not like a whole lot of story continuity.
Right.
You know, they're pretty well single-serving episodes, which can be a good thing because you can just hop in on an episode and watch it and still enjoy it without knowing a whole lot about it. But yeah, I could see how that would happen.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think it's necessarily an indictment of the show or anything.
It's an interesting thing that happened.
Okay.
Penny Dreadful.
Oh yes, that would be the one thing I think that Will and I watched together was the latest Penny Dreadful.
Other than Borderlands.
Other than Borderlands. That was a good episode.
The Nightcomers.
Yes.
Okay, the most recent one was the one where it's kind of a flashback where she goes and she like
receives training
for
an apprenticeship of
You're
sorts. Yes.
So she can turn people into newts.
But they got better.
Exactly. The most recent Game of Thrones, and I think I watched an episode of Orphan Black this week. I'm pretty sure I did, and then an episode of Amy Schumer. And I'm starting to lose patience with Orphan Black a little bit.
That was one I actually didn't watch this week, and it's not because I like hated it or anything. I just didn't have time.
I don't know. It's because I'd quit on the show twice before, and I caught all the way back up, and I was enjoying it. But then the last couple episodes weren't great, and it kind of put me back.
2 or something now.
No, I'm completely up to date.
Oh, okay.
I'm
So you're
watching
on 3.
live.
You're
Yeah,
watching live episodes.
yeah. Well, that's it. So, Amy Schumer, she always makes me laugh. She's not always funny, but she always makes me laugh.
Okay.
And I like her interviews with people. Those are really entertaining.
Yes, yeah. I don't watch the show religiously, but I do.
Yeah.
I've seen.
She'll just sit down with people from different walks of life.
Oh, that's cool.
Kind of funny. And I forget who the guy was. Maybe from Ashley Madison or something. Oh no, the most recent one was he was a male escort.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
That's great.
Yeah. Said he got started by, like, he and his buddy were sitting outside like the Container Store or something like equally benign like that, and then women just started asking them to come and put their organize their closets. And
organize. That's an analogy.
And that's how he got
organized their closets too. That's so filthy, like in that context.
Yeah, but they're just sitting outside thing, and I mean that's how he got started. In the lady companionship business. So
what a fortuitous day for him.
Weird. Yeah.
All right.
Strange.
Very well.
All right, so that's it for that. Erin, what you been playing this week?
Jack and shit and Jack left town.
Wow.
Nothing.
I logged into Neverwinter a few times.
Oh, nice.
And told it to do stuff and then turned it off.
Okay. Wow, that
didn't really play anything.
That might have been the quickest weekly what you playing ever.
We've had those.
Yeah. Especially with Jordan, because he, his last.
Although he's been playing a lot, I think.
Yeah, he's like almost at the cap for Neverwinter.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Level cap for him.
So.
All right. Well, we need to go ahead and wrap it up because Lady Erin needs to get out the door, and Brick has to get to Comic-Con. We will go together tomorrow.
Yes.
Nice.
Maybe meet up with the hippie because he is also going tomorrow.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Please like and share us. We are pretty much all over the internet, so find us wherever is most convenient for you.
Absolutely.
And then tell people to find it wherever is most convenient for them. So, okay, bye.
Good night.